What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So I've been ranking some of my favorites from some of my favorite houses, from worst to best, and it was requested that I continue doing that. So here we've got all of my John Varvatos fragrances. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 fragrances, and I have them organized from my least favorite, worst, to my favorite, the best. So let's dive into it. Stay tuned. Starting with one that I think I've worn twice in the years and years that I've had it. It is Dark Rebel Rider. I just don't care for it. Nothing wrong with it. It's just such a situational black leather fragrance. Very much like a Harley Davidson rider biker gang kind of vibe here, which isn't really my thing, you know. Totally fits a vibe. Love the fleur-de-lis on top of here, I gotta say. But super situational, very unique design. Has the leather pouch zipped up kind of thing going on, like leathers for the bike. Like I said, very much biker gang kind of stuff. Not really me. I mean, not my look, not my vibe, not my thing, you know? I'm a sport bike rider, not a cruiser. So very much, you know, a solid fragrance. I understand there's people that enjoy it, but, you know, I just kind of have it. Smells like leather. Black leather, a little bit of spice and some, you know, dense woods. Not super boozy or anything like that. And, you know, I don't get a ton of sweetness. It's quite unique. It's actually really good for what it is. It's just not my taste. Coming in last, worst, if you will, Dark Rebel Rider. Now, I mean, they got to be arranged, right? And I have nothing against this fragrance. I just don't reach for it. I kind of have it out of respect for the house and for the line. This is the original John Varvatos. Nice sweet juiciness. I believe it's a plum note that's in here. It's, you know, kind of on the weaker side of performance for being on the heavier, sweeter side. It's like a 4-hour fragrance. It does smell good. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this fragrance. It smells quite nice. It's just, you know, as far as practicality for how often I want to reach for it, it just speaks to me to want to grab it. It's one of the low minimum on the totem pole, so hence why it's at number 14. Again, nothing wrong with it. I would encourage everybody to give it a shot and try it, because this was their initial fragrance that started us down the path. I don't have every John Varvatos fragrance, but, you know, this is the OG, John Varvatos. Another one, like some of these, it pains me for them to be ranked so low because they do smell really good, but again, it's just ranked according to how I feel about them, I guess. But Artisan Acqua. Nothing wrong with this fragrance. Again, I actually really like the way the bottle looks with this kind of wicker wrap style going around it. It's a little watery, it's green, it's citric. You know, quality actually smells really good for what it is. It's a great summery, laid back, casual vibe. It just doesn't get any love because they have a lot of fragrances that fit this style and this vibe that do it a little bit better, if I'm being honest. Hence the reason why it's ranked a little bit lower. Again, another one I would encourage you to try. You can get most of these really cheap. It's a really fun house to collect that has a lot to offer. And this actually does have a lot to offer. Just there's others I enjoy more. It's Artisan Acqua. Speaking of juicy orange, I believe there's a little bit of tangerine, maybe some clementine, some white florals. It doesn't last but like 3 hours. It's super weak, but it's the original Artisan. This is a great fragrance. If you don't mind weak performance, this is one of the ones that gave this brand a bad reputation for just weak sauce performance. It's like 3 hours, but it smells incredible. It's an all-time great for the gym, running errands, refresher out the shower, just a kind of that in-between fragrance just to get you by for a few hours, and you're gonna smell incredibly fresh. It's not overly feminine and powdery, but there's a nice soapy white floral edge to it. Again, it smells great. It's just super weak in performance, but this is the original because my favorite fragrances, which you'll see, are of the Artisan line for the most part, and this is the original John Varvatos Artisan. Sauvage meets Coach for Men. We're talking about the Nick Jonas line. They have 3 fragrances in collaboration with Nick Jonas, and this is silver, technically. This is John Varvatos JVXNJ Silver. Again, it reminds me a little bit of Coach for Men, a lot of Sauvage. It's that fresh shower gel and Broxton type of fragrance. It's solid. It's decent. I think this is a great fragrance for a young man starting his collection. Teenagers on into your early 20s, if you just want that dumb reach, gonna smell good, works for everything fragrance, this is good for that. This gets zero love. I was very happy to find this at a rack store. I don't remember if it was TJ Maxx or Marshalls. I want to say a Marshalls, but I actually like all three of these fragrances. I mean, this is the first one of the three. The other two are ranked higher than this. They are decent fragrances, and you can find them for really cheap. I would encourage maybe checking them out. You'd be surprised, even if you could care less about Nick Jonas, which is kind of me, you know, nothing against him. I'm just not a big fan of his music, but the collaborative fragrances here that they did with him are solid releases. And, you know, this is I guess technically the worst of the three, though it is a solid, mass appealing, great everyday shower gel fragrance. It's JV X&J Silver. Next, I think the original one, which would be JV X&J Blue, technically, is better. So this is very much a blue fragrance, has elements of kind of Eros, like fruity minty, but still has a little bit of the kind of Ambroxan feel. It's a little powdery and sweet. It's better. This one's better than the silver one, I gotta say. I do like this one. This was another one, kind of generic blue. So I could see where people would have blue fragrance fatigue from this because it will remind you of a lot of other sweet blues because it does have a sweeter side to it. It's aromatic, like I said, a little bit of powder, some fruitiness, and so on. Not overly minty, but it is a good fragrance. There was a time, the first time I smelled this, when it was the only one, I smelled it at a John Varvatos store at the Galleria Mall in Houston, Texas. And I was like, ooh, got to get that one of these days. It's pretty damn good. And I've had it for years now. And I need to revisit it. In fact, I'm going to be changing to go to the gym in a little bit. Do 2 sprays. What the hell? I mean, I've been wanting to put it on skin. What's a better time than now? See, it's a solid fragrance. Another one that I don't necessarily feel like you have to have, but if you're going to dive into the collaborative fragrances with Nick Jonas, I encourage getting all three. You can get all three for under $100. Like pretty much, yeah, like right around $100. You could get all three, and they all three offer something nice, very versatile, great diverse collection for a young man. In this JV X&J Blue, what I would deem to be the best of the three. As you can see, 3 in a row, we have the Nick Jonas collaboration fragrances. This is JV X&J Crimson. This one offers some sweet fruitiness, like I believe it's like cranberry. You have a little bit of rum, gives it this warm, boozy feel. Of course, it's still sweet, a little on the powdery side. This is the most well-rounded, evening appropriate, I guess, slightly mature, not really matured, but of the three, it's the most mature. It's still not a mature fragrance. Still playful, but it's the best one. It is. It's clearly, definitely, in my opinion, the best of the three. The other two I have are 75 mLs. This is 125 ml. This is the one, if you're going to just get one of the three from this particular collaboration line, this is the one. Some call it red, some call it crimson. Just know it's the red-ish bottle. It's sweet, fruity, and boozy, but not overly sweet. Like I said, I think it's like cranberry or something like that. It's got a little bit of a tartness to it. This is a good one. You see how I perked up to talk about it, especially once I sprayed it and smelled it? We're starting to really get into the good ones at this point. JV X&J Crimson. Admittedly, I haven't spent a ton of time with this, but I have to say, I enjoy the aquatic nature of this, but it has more of a dense fruitiness than some of its flankers. But this is XX Artisan. This is the newer line, is the XX line, is its own set of flankers. And it's pretty damn good, I gotta say. I haven't had it for a long time. There's a lot of citrus at the top. I believe it's bergamot. It's almost got like this dill-like juiciness to it. It's really good. Now, you're going to see there's other Artisan flankers that I like so much more than this one, but this is really good. This is a good middle of the pack here. This is, again, not a must-have, but if you're starting to dive into some of the better offerings, at least in my opinion, from them, and you want to explore some of their fresh options, because a lot of their fresh fragrances don't necessarily smell exactly like a bunch of other things. They might have elements that remind you of certain fragrances, but they kind of stand on their own, and I think this is a great representation of that. This silver metallic wicker look to the bottle as well is just, it looks great. Some people really care about how their bottles look. It's a cool looking bottle, I gotta say. And the fragrance is very fresh, great for warmer climates. If you live in a warm area where you can pretty much wear fresh fragrances year round, you don't get a whole lot of cold, something like this would probably do well in your collection. It's John Varvatos XX Artisan. You know, I don't reach for this one as much as I once did, but I'll forever call it the Justin Copeland Special. No man has turned more people onto this fragrance than Justin Copeland. It's John Varvatos Vintage. Rhubarb, bitter orange, tobacco. One of the most interesting, well-rounded, more gentlemanly styled fragrances ever put out by this brand. It actually pained me to not rank it higher, but I gotta look at practicality. I don't reach for this one like I once did. Much more casual lifestyle these days than when I initially got this. This suited my lifestyle a lot better a few years ago because I'm very situational, I'm very seasonal. I'm all about appropriateness with matching the scent profile to the situation and the apparel. And this is beautiful. You can wear this can be a signature scent and it will smell different from everything else. I don't have another fragrance that smells like this. It is quite lovely. I would strongly encourage checking this one out. It's one of the more approachable tobacco fragrances I've ever come across because it's a mild tobacco. It's not heavily earthy. It's not super sweet and moist tobacco. It's a nice leafy aromatic. And the rhubarb and the bitter orange here kind of star in this one. I believe there might even be a little bit of suede, if I remember correctly. Nice, soft, earthy tone. Not real animalic. It's robust at the same time, but still offers some freshness and solid performance. I get like 5 or 6 hours out of this one. It's for this brand, that's actually pretty good performance. But the Justin Copeland Special, John Varvatos Vintage. A lot of people's favorite. I totally get it. Artisan Pure. It's definitely one of the cleanest looks as far as the wicker style bottle that they do. So you're going to get a nice, smooth, dry citrus, as weird as that sounds. It's not like a juicy, sweet fruitiness to the citrus. It's still watery, fresh. There's some mild greens here. Great everyday refresher. It is a damn good fragrance. I gotta say, it's super well-rounded without having a youthful feel. It also doesn't smell like some old man citrus aromatic that you would have found in the 60s and 70s and 80s and so on. It's not that old school powerhouse style. There's a modern touch to it, but it still offers a little bit of elegance and a serious side that it doesn't necessarily come across as something that would be dubbed a teenager fragrance either. Kind of falls right in between. This is one of their most well-rounded releases they've ever put out because they got a lot of fresh citrus-based fragrances, citruses and greens. They got several that fit this theme, like Artisan Acqua that we mentioned earlier, Artisan Teal. More to come later after this one, but there's a lot of people's favorite from the brand. I totally get it. It's definitely in the upper third of the way I would rank them. It's number 6 of my 15. It's definitely good stuff. This is one I would strongly encourage checking out. The hype is real on this one. It's Artisan Pure. Now, I just got this one. I haven't even given it a full wearing yet. It's only been test sprays, and we're about to give it another test spray because I do love the way it smells. It is John Varvatos XX Heritage, as it's known. This is the namesake to start the XX line. It looks cool, but this jewel's kind of a pain in the ass. Man, does that smell good. It's nice and fruity, sweet, a little powdery, woodsy, but not super, super sweet. Man, I really enjoy that. It's even got a little bit of a slight bubblegum tone to it. This is a good one. This is a good one. And this is the only one in this video that I haven't even done a full wearing with. I literally got this fragrance last week. 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I mean. And I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan already. It's literally number 5. It's in my top 5. That's how good this one smells. I was sleeping on this one for a little while. It's been out since like 2020, I think, if I remember correctly. I believe that's when it got. I have to double check. I didn't look. But around that, it's been out for a few years. Super late to the game. You can get it for a really good price. Decent performance so far in my testing. 5-6 hour range. Nothing crazy. Again, when it comes to this brand, don't go looking for beasts. They have none. Not one. Not one is a beast. But man, does it smell good. Has a little bit of this 1 million sweetness going on without being super bubble gummy. It's not heavily spiced. Man, I dig this one. John Varvatos XX Heritage. Now, if I was ranking this according to what I think is the greatest piece they've ever produced, this would be number 1. But practicality and how often I reach for them, how often I want to wear them, the wearability factor, all that really weighs in. That's why it's not in the top 3. But if I was to pick one that is just the best fragrance they've ever made, that's how I feel. It's Dark Rebel. It's amazing. It's very mature. It's not for everybody. It's leathery. It's smoky. It's boozy. It's got castoreum in it to give it this rich kind of musky character. Yes, that's the beaver gland. For those of you that are like, ooh, what? Is that poop gland thing? Yeah. Don't knock this before you try it. It does not smell like shit, okay? It just does not. Get that out your mind. It does not. I haven't worn this in a while, though. God, that is a masterpiece. And another one, just like with Dark Rebel Rider, has that fleur-de-lis on top of the cap. God, that smells so good. This is a masterpiece. This is their best work. It's just a cold weather fragrance, you know, winter. That's the only time I've ever worn this. That's the only time I would recommend wearing it. You can get away with it in the fall, but it has a powdery tone. It's on the animalistic side of things because of notes like that castoreum. It's nice and boozy without being overly sweet. It's actually pretty balanced with the sweetness and the booze. This is special. Leather booze, musk, castoreum, powder, mature, not for everybody. Young folks probably would hate this and think it smells disgusting. This is the enthusiast fragrance from the brand. This is for those of you perfume lovers. If you would consider yourself a perfume lover and you're a guy that's not afraid to say perfume lover, because they are perfumes. We can call them colognes, we can call them fragrances, they're perfumes. Masterpiece, 6-hour fragrance, 6-7 hours. Probably their strongest fragrance, at least in my experience. This is the closest thing you're going to get to a beast from what I've gathered. Through the ones I've tried. Like I have most of them. I don't have Rock One and Oud, XX Black, Artisan Black. I still would like to get that one. That's been long discontinued. But there's, you know, handful or so that I don't have. But so it's hard to say this was their best fragrance, but at the same time, that's kind of the overall consensus. If you want the masterpiece, check out Dark Rebel. Now we're getting into my legit top 3. These are the ones you see me talk about often. Literally yesterday's aquatics video, we talked about XX Artisan Teal. This is a salty, watery YEDT. The water lily, the iodine note, it gives this, it's YEDT with salt water. Very aquatic twist. It's got the same level of citrus and musk. It's beautiful. Average performance, 5-6 hour range for me. They have gotten better over the years for their fresh fragrances. Because we got one we're going to be getting. My number one's like a 4-hour fragrance at best, but it's still my number one because performance isn't everything. The wearing experience and the smell is number one to me. But this, for the summertime, my favorite. My favorite John Varvatos fragrance. Oh, yeah, summertime, this is the one. This is the jam. It's a beautiful aquatic. It's familiar, but not the same. Like I said, to the original YEDT. This is good stuff. You can get it cheap, $35, $40 range for 4.2 ounce from discounters when you can find it in stock. I love this aquatic looking bottle. Again, the wicker wrap that they do. I'm a fan. That nautical summery theme. I love that they do that. Beautiful stuff. XX Artisan Teal. Got this at the same time as XX Heritage. It's already my number 2. It's one of my favorite cheap pickups of the year. Might even be my favorite cheap pickup of the year. Elements of Dylan Blue meets Leafy Green Minty, XX Indigo. I'm working on a full review for this one. I love this fragrance. This is the cheap blue I didn't even know I was missing. Has this Himalayan poppy note, this blue, rosy looking floral flower, whatever. It offers, all I can say is there's this fresh, soft, powdery flower tone to it, just a little bit. And again, I get this green element, minty, without being like toothpaste or gum type of mint, more of a mint leaf. A little bit of the shower gel feel at the same time, a little bit of spices. Still offers some aromatic tones to it. I really like this one, like a 5-6 hour fragrance. Again, nothing crazy in performance, average performer, which average performance is like is the best you can expect from them, like I said before. I really like this one. Hell, it's my number 2 and I've only had it for 2 weeks. This one I have worn. You know, that's of the 2 when I got Heritage and this one. While I love this one to the point to where it's still got the number 6 spot without a full wearing, just test sprays. I've spent some time with this one so far. I love this fragrance. It might creep its way into my number 1 spot at some point, but I would encourage checking this one out. XX Indigo. And finally, my favorite. It has been my favorite for years. It's my favorite spring fragrance. They should have called it Artisan Green. It's Artisan Blue. This is not a blue fragrance. Everything about it is fresh cut grass, greens, chayote, tarragon, just loaded with green citrus, watery fresh, realistic. The quality to this smells great. It doesn't smell cheap and synthetic to me. 3 or 4 hours in longevity, maybe 45 minutes or so of projection. Performance is shit. It really is. But man, just spray it, enjoy it. I've been through a 75 ml. It's actually my second bottle. That's the best affordable green dominant fragrance I've ever smelled. My two favorite spring dominant fragrances, Maison Francis Kurkdjian Acqua Celestia Forte, and then the flip side of the coin on the affordable side is this, John Varvatos Artisan Blue. It has been my favorite for years. I don't see that changing. XX Indigo is the one that's gotten close, that's got a chance, that the more I spend time with it, it could overtake it, possibly. But it's a tall task, because this is unique. I don't have another fragrance that smells. I've smelled thousands and thousands of fragrances of this. I have thousands of fragrances, and I've smelled 3 times what I have. I'm in the realm of 2,000 bottles, and I've smelled probably 5,000 or 6,000 fragrances at this point. I haven't come across another fragrance that smells like this. Uniqueness is so rare at this point, especially for a designer that you can get for like $30, $35. This is amazing. I love it. I can't say enough good things about it. I've been recommending it for years. I'll continue to recommend it. Every spring, this is a guarantee. You always see me talking about this one in the spring. Year in, year out. I don't see that changing. Hopefully they never discontinue it. That way I can keep recommending it, because I try not to really recommend discontinued stuff to you guys. But, man, easily my favorite from the house, John Varvatos Artisan Blue. Well, that's the 15 that I have from the brand John Varvatos, and how I would rank them from worst to best. Some of this may surprise you. Some of this you may not agree with, because it's my ratings. It's the way I rank them. It's how I like them, from worst to best. Your favorite might be Artisan Pure. Your favorite might be Dark Rebel. Your favorite might be the original Artisan. I don't know. Everybody's going to be different, The fun every time I do this stuff is, where's this fragrance? Where's that fragrance? Because people don't pay attention when I say these are the ones I own. And I'm ranking the ones I own. Literally happened in the Arm Off Club Didn't We video. It's like, what about this one? Why didn't you rank this one? I don't own it, sir. I stated these are the ones I own. People crack me up on the internet. But I appreciate all of you watching. I really do. There's some good stuff here. Most of them are very affordable, too. It's a great brand to explore. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, because I do appreciate all the feedback and I love hearing from you guys. Again, let me know down below, what are some of your favorites from John Varvatos? I'll try to have links to everything below as best I can. And until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on anything from John Varvatos and you give him a spray now, you might end up thanking me later. Have a good one, guys.